I was able to go from $100 to $10,000 a month, and it's actually much easier than you think. But there's something that I've learned throughout each step of the way, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is so you don't have to go through the same things that I had to go through. So it's much easier for you to get to the 10,000 goal mark, because that's a mark that a lot of people want to hit, $10,000 a month, especially with KDP. Now, if you stick to the end, I'm actually going to show you a bonus way to make $100,000 with KDP. But you can't reach this until you do this process first. Now, when you first start on KDP, you're going to learn how to make $100 a month. It's going to be $100 a month. Now, what do you learn when you actually make this $100 a month? Well, you literally only learn two things. You learn how to make a book. So it's all about creating your book. And what does that mean? That just means you figure out how to make a book cover and you figure out how to make the interior. Now, before this, you come into KDP and then you see, oh, you have to make books and you make money. So your mindset is, okay, I'll make a book and I make money. So you create a book, you put it on Amazon, and then you start making a little bit of money. But here's what usually happens. You make a book, and then let's say one of your books might make around $10 a month. And then you're thinking, oh, okay, this book is a failure. Let me just make another book. So you make another book, and that book might make you $15 a month. And then you're thinking, okay, now I'm at 25. Let me just make another book. Because if you go on YouTube and you watch all the low content guys, they will tell you just keep making a bunch of books, which is probably not the best way to go about KDP. But anyway, you can listen to whoever you want to listen to. But usually at the start, when you're making around $100 a month, you usually are making low content books, and then you're usually making a bunch of them. It's probably not 100, but I'm putting 100 so you guys can understand how many books you're probably making. I see all these low content guys say, oh, I make $2,000 a month, and they got like 500 books on their account, which is insane to me. I prefer high content and medium content, but that's a topic for another video. Now, this is usually how publishers start, and this is actually how I started as well. I started making low content, and I strongly believe low content is the best way to start on KDP. And why is that? Because you can actually learn from low content books. You can learn how to make a cover, what the dimensions are, how to do your interior, how to format your interior, where to get things to put inside, all the programs that you have to use. You learn a lot from creating low content books, especially at the start, so you can figure out how the whole system works, how you actually upload your book and do the basics. And that's exactly how I started as well. I started doing the basics, and I eventually learned how to actually create a book. Now, in my first year, I was not making a bunch of money. I was making $100 for maybe 2 years, until 1 month I actually made around $500. And I kept going and going and going until I started getting to $1,000. So I got to $1,000 a month. And how did I do this? Well, first of all, I would not be able to get to $1,000 a month unless I learned how to actually create a book first. So if I didn't go through this step first, I wouldn't be able to get to 1,000. So when I learned the $100 skills of creating a book, let's say this is your knowledge base. Once you have a base set of knowledge, then you have these little lines that pop out. These are based on what you know, the potential of new knowledge that you can find. So the longer these lines, the more potential. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So let's say these lines are basically what you can know based on what you know now. So if I just started cooking and I learned how to use the oven, then great, I can probably cook a chicken, because you just put the chicken in the oven and then that's it. But if you start to explain to me about spices and all the things you put on top, and you have to turn the chicken every 10 minutes and get in the perfect color, that's way too much for me. That's completely outside my knowledge base. That's up here. This is around here. And these can't reach that knowledge base. But what they can reach is the knowledge base that I need to make $1,000 a month. So with this knowledge base, I started making $1,000 a month. Let me just remove this. So what did I learn at $1,000 a month? Well, I stuck with the same basic principles of creating a cover and an interior, but I realized a very, very important thing, and that's research. What do I mean by research? Well, I didn't realize at the start that I could do research to figure out a book that's going to sell before making it. I just started making books and then hoping it was going to sell. Now, the way I broke past this and got to $1,000 a month is I understood research. I understood niche research, so finding a niche where people are actually buying. So if I make a book, I have the potential to make a bunch of money. Then I also figured out keyword research, which means I could put keywords in my title. I'll put this as well, in my title and my description. And then Amazon will read those keywords and show me for those keywords that people are typing in a niche where people are buying. So with this, even if I had a good book, I didn't know if there was anyone that wants to buy my book. But as soon as I learned how to make a book first, and then I also realized that I need to create a book in a niche where people are searching a bunch of keywords and buying books, then now I created a book in a niche that's going to sell, and I could get to $1,000 a month. If you had a bucket, if we both have a bucket here and we're trying to collect water, and there's one waterfall pours water all the time, and there's other ones where there's like little droplets. It's very rare that there's water. Maybe once a week there's water. With this fountain, every day, every hour, every minute of the day, there's gallons of water just pouring down. But over here, there's little droplets, maybe once a week. You're probably going to go to this waterfall so you can collect as much water as possible. When I was doing $100 a month, I would go to this waterfall, the one with barely any drops in it. Now, what I realized is I need to switch my perspective and actually go to a niche where a bunch of water is falling so I can collect more water, collect more savings. And that was able to get me to $1,000 a month. But I was stuck at $1,000 a month for a very long time. I was stuck at $1,000 for almost a year, and I couldn't quite figure out why. Now, the biggest challenge that I faced in my KDP business was getting to $3,000 a month. Now, why was this the biggest challenge? Well, it wasn't because I didn't know what to do, but it was because I was raised poor. I was very, very poor for so long. I had a scarcity mindset. So all the money I made, I would keep it and hold it just in case I ever lost it, because I didn't want to be poor again. But then I realized that I had to make a decision. Either I'm going to be scared or I'm going to go all in on my business and hopefully it works out. Now, I realized that I didn't want to live a life of being scared. I wanted to go all in and see how well this can play out. And that's when I discovered hiring. Now, the thing about hiring is I paid people that were better than me at what I do. Not people that are on the same level as me or worse than me. I pay people that are better than me so they can create the most important thing when it comes to KDP, quality. Now, whether hiring is for a book cover or if it's for a ghostwriter, it doesn't really matter. Because take a look at these two. I hired a designer and a ghostwriter. The two things that I learned from the $100 lesson, how to make a cover and how to make an interior. I knew how to do this, but I did not know how to do it very, very good. These guys did. The book cover designer knew how to make a cover way better than I knew how to make a book cover. The ghostwriter knew how to write a book way better than I knew how to write a book. So when I shifted my mindset from, I'm scared, let me keep as much money as possible just in case I lose it, to let me actually pay someone, create something really good, and then that would help me sell more. That's when I was able to hit the $3,000 per month mark. But here's the thing, I would not be able to hit 3,000 if I didn't go through $100 first to learn all the dimensions needed and everything, all the little intricate parts of KDP, and then go and understand research and niche research. If I go and paid someone to make me a book without me doing the research, I'm basically making a book in that fountain that we talked about with the droplets. I'm going to make a book, pay a lot of money to create a book in a niche that no one's actually buying. So when I started making 1,000, I started to understand the business more. So these things grew and I was able to acquire more knowledge. So you can see, I had to go through steps and I had to gather knowledge in order to understand the next piece of knowledge. These are like levels. This is level 1. And as soon as I conquered level 1, then I could go on level 2. Once I conquered level 2, then I can go on level 3. Now, after level 3, it gets so much easier. Why? Because now you have money. And that's what I had. I had money. I was making a bunch of money and I'm very cheap. Not cheap as in I'm not going to spend money. Cheap as in I literally do not spend any money. I spend money on food and I spend money maybe on fuel. I literally sit in my house all day, every day. I might go out on a Friday and a Saturday, and that doesn't really require much fuel. 80% of the money I make, I spend it in my business. That's why I'm with a rope. I don't have a Rolex. I don't have a Lambo. I don't have anything. What I do have is a KDP business, and I love it so much, I do not mind spending money on it. So now that I've acquired the money, I was able to create even more books and hired more people and created higher quality books. But it's not the money that got me to $10,000 a month, because there was a point where I had a bunch of money, but I didn't care that much because my only goal was $1,000 a month. When I broke it and I got to 3,000, I thought, okay, I'm good. I don't need to work anymore. I don't need to do anything anymore. And I started slacking off. Now, that was more of a psychological issue, and I got over that now, but that's something that every entrepreneur goes through. When you have a goal and you break that goal, you start to feel more like, oh, okay, well, what now? You start to give up, you start to not see the point in anything, and then you start having more goals, and you realize that, oh, there's way more things to do now. So now that I had money and I had knowledge, the only thing that got me to $10,000 is understanding the business. What do I mean by understanding the business? In order for you to get to $10,000, it's completely different from you getting to $3,000. Getting to this number here, it requires a lot of your effort. Now, if you spend all your time, if you have, let's say, this is your time during the day. These are your 16 hours. So this is hour 1, hour 16. Let's say you sleep for 8 hours and you work for 16. Let's just say, hypothetically, if you spend this amount of time working on creating your book and actually creating your book cover and your interior and doing the research and the keywords and everything that you need to do, making your A+ content, make sure everything's correct, uploading your book, figuring out what keywords to target for your ads and the strategies and all of that. If you're spending most of your time creating the book, then you have so little energy focused on scaling your business, of thinking about it as a business. Okay, what's next? What's the next book? How do I piggyback off this book's success? How do I increase my organic sales and lower my PPC sales to increase my profit? So in here, you're working in the business. Here, you're working on the business. Well, working in the business is going to be much harder to get to 10,000. Not impossible, but much harder to get to 10,000 when you're working in the business. It's much easier to get to 10,000 when you're working on the business. I hope that makes sense. Now, another very helpful thing that got me to 10,000 is actually understanding ads. Now, this is a whole nother video. I can't go into ads in this video. It's a whole different video. There's so many things to talk about when it comes to ads. But ads do get easier if you understand these 3 principles. If you have a super high quality book where you hired a professional book cover designer and you hired a professional ghostwriter and you did the research correctly and you found the correct keywords and you have a very appropriate title and a high converting description, then your ads are going to be much, much easier for you to run. It's still going to require some skill and some knowledge to understand ads. But once you start taking away your time from creating your book and start understanding the business side of KDP, so understanding the algorithm. If you understand how the algorithm works, you're basically playing a game. If you know exactly what the algorithm wants, you give the algorithm what it wants, and the algorithm will give you what you want back, which is money. Now, once you get deeper into the algorithm and you start understanding how it works, you start to understand that your customer matters. So right now, you're not really thinking about the book you're creating. You're thinking mostly about your customer. What do they need? How do I fulfill their needs? How do I best fulfill their needs? How do I convey the value of my book to the customer that it fixes all their problems? That's working on the business, not on the book, on the business. So you understand the customer, you understand the algorithm, and you understand how to promote it and how to launch your book effectively so a bunch of people can see it. Now, once you understand your customer, you understand the algorithm, and you understand how to run ads, then you understand the business side of KDP. You're not really thinking about, oh, is this the correct dimension for my book cover? Or, oh, is this the correct keyword? What keyword should I put? You're not thinking about those small things. You're thinking about the larger picture. So once you reach the 3,000 level, there's some extra lines here where it will allow you to learn how to make 10,000. Because at the $3,000 level, you can actually free up your time by hiring and outsourcing other people so you can focus more on understanding the business of KDP. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that it's easy. Oh, it's very easy to go from 100 to 10,000. It's not easy. It requires effort. And most people aren't actually willing to put in that effort. So if you're willing to put in that effort, it's going to be much easier for you than for someone who's not willing to put the effort in. So it's easy depending on who you are and how motivated you are to get to 10,000. Now, is it possible? Of course it's possible. A bunch of people have been doing it, so you can do it too. If it wasn't possible, then you wouldn't have seen anyone do it. Now, here's one of the most important things that you need to understand before you get to $10,000 a month. You're probably at one of these stages. You might be at $100 a month and you're still doing low content books. You might be at $1,000 a month and maybe doing medium content books. You might even be at $3,000 a month. Now, here's the thing. Most people are usually at $100 a month doing low content books, probably losing money, maybe at minus $100 or $200 or $300 a month. Or you might be at $1,000 a month, $1,200, somewhere there. That's where most new publishers are at. If you want to make $10,000 a month, and this is a $10,000 circle, and then you're at $100 a month, your knowledge can't expand to 10,000. You can't even comprehend how to make 10,000. Because these lines aren't long enough to reach the 10,000. Your mind isn't exposed to the correct information enough for you to get to 10,000. Now, the same applies if you're at 1,000. So if this is the 100 and this is the 1,000, again, the knowledge, these little lines that need to expand in order to understand the knowledge of the next step, the next level, they're not long enough for you to understand the 10K. They're long enough to understand the $3,000 line, but not the 10K line, which is why a lot of people might come on my videos and I'm saying, oh, this is how you make 10K. And everyone's like, well, it's not that simple and blah, blah, blah. I understand. I make the videos for the people that are here, that are ready to understand the knowledge needed to get here. I'm not making videos for the people that are here trying to get here. It will be impossible for me to make a 20-minute video explaining to you how to go from $100 to $10,000 a month. I can give you an overview of what it looks like, but I can't tell you exactly every single detail. That's what my program is for. Now, I'm not here to sell you the program. I really do not care if you buy the program or not. I have enough money. I'm literally cheap. I don't buy anything. Your money is not going to help me in any way, shape, or form. In fact, you investing in yourself and joining the program is going to help you 10 times more than me. Now, I don't care whose program you buy, whether it's my one, or if you want to go buy Sean's one, or if you want to go buy Paul's one, or if you want to go buy Romney's one, whatever you want to do, I really do not care. The only thing I care about is that you gather knowledge. This is the one thing you need. My marker ran out. Let me just take a sip. I spilled it on myself. Yeah, well, knowledge. Knowledge is the only thing you need. If you have the knowledge, then you know how to get from $100 to $10,000. The only reason you are not currently today at $10,000 a month is because you don't know how to get to $10,000 a month. You don't know the exact steps that you need to take. You know you need a book cover. Okay, you know you need a very professional book cover, but let me tell you, tell me 10 things that make a professional book cover. Tell me 10 design principles that you need to implement into your book cover in order for it to look professional. I'll give you 3. You need color. What do I mean by color? You don't just pick any color. You need to understand color psychology. You need to pick the correct color to give you contrast. If you don't have contrast, no one's going to read your title. No one's even going to comprehend your book cover. They're just going to skip right past it. You need to understand the color wheel. If you don't know what the color wheel is, what are you doing? Go learn design. Your book covers aren't ready to even get to 1,000 if you don't understand color wheel or color psychology. Understand color combinations. What colors work well together? Do you have a triadic color? Do you have a tetradic color combination? Do you have a complementary color combination? What is your cover? What fonts are you using? Are your fonts appropriate for your book cover? Are they appropriate for your audience? Do they resonate with the audience? Do they give them the feeling that they need in order to click on your book, to actually buy your book? This is one. I've given you one thing, just color. Now there's so many other design principles. If you guys are just making random covers and you're not getting clicks, obviously you're not getting clicks because you don't have the knowledge needed for you to create a successful book cover. And that applies with everything that has to do with KDP. You need the knowledge. Now, it doesn't matter who you get that knowledge from, whether it's from me or whether it's from another YouTuber or whether it's from a friend or whether it's from a mentor, it does not matter. You need knowledge if you want to get to 10,000. The best thing you can do is assume that you know nothing, because as soon as you assume that you know nothing, then that opens up your mind to start learning new things. Knowledge is the key to everything. Now, I promised you guys a bonus tip on how to get to 100K. Now, I'm not saying 100K a month. I'm saying 100K cash in your bank account, or Bitcoin if you want to get paid by Bitcoin. But making 100K with KDP is much easier than making 10K a month. Now, this sounds insane, but it's completely true. And let me show you why. So if you want to make 100K, then you probably need to sell your business for 100K. Now, in order for you to sell your KDP business for 100K, that business needs to be making around $2,500 in profit every single month for 12 months. If you can do this for 12 months, 2.5 on average for 12 months. So if, for example, you make 1,500 average a month, but then Christmas time comes and you make 15K profit, then that 15K profit you made just in December gets distributed to the other months to come up with an average. So that would bring your average to almost 2.5K. So you only need one good month to increase the total average of your business. You only need a couple of books to make you 2.5K a month. This can be 1 book, 2 books, 3 books. It all depends on you. It depends on your niche and how you're publishing and your quality, all the other things we talked about. But you need so very few books to get to 2.5K a month, and then that business is worth 100K. And you can sell it whenever you want. Now, that's only level 3. You only need to get to here. You only need this line here to make 100K with KDP. You don't even need to get to $10,000 a month. And here's proof. Here's an image of someone who is currently selling their KDP business, and it's worth 100K. Look at how much profit they're making every single month. Now, it all depends on your multiple. This multiple is determined by a bunch of different things, but some of them have a 28 times multiple. Other ones have a 35, other ones have a 39. Now, when I sold my business, it was around a 40x multiple. It was 39 or 40x, something like that. I have it on my website so you can see. But here's the thing. What happens if you're actually a good publisher and you don't want the short-term money and you get the knowledge required to get to $10,000 a month? Well, if you get to $10,000 a month and you're consistently making that over the course of 12 months, then you have a business that's worth 400 to 500K. So around $500,000 business just by getting to $10,000 a month, almost. Now, again, it depends on your multiple, but if you can just get through these levels, gather the knowledge needed to only make 10,000, you can get 400K. And you can go buy your Rolex and go buy your Lambo or go buy your house, whatever you want to buy. Some people want a car, some people want a watch, some people want to buy things to impress other people. Other people just want to not go to work anymore. You can invest this in the S&P. You can do whatever you want with it. It's your money. It's your business and you can sell it. So that's how you make 100K. You don't even have to get to 10,000 to make 100K. But since you're already at 3,000, it's much easier to get from 3,000 to 10,000 than it is to get from 100 to 1,000. Because this is a whole different mindset shift. And then from 1,000 to 3,000, it's a whole different mindset shift. Now from 3,000 to 10,000, it's not that bad. Because you're using money, other people help you, it actually gets easier. But again, you cannot reach these numbers until you gather the correct knowledge. Now, from 100 to 1,000, that knowledge, you can find it on YouTube. You can get to $1,000 a month just from watching free YouTube videos. But once you want to scale past 1,000, you usually have to buy something because the really, really good knowledge is not on YouTube. Because most of the YouTubers don't even know what they're doing. But I'm not saying any names. There's some really, really good people out there with some quality videos, quality case studies, and quality data, and some really, really good advice. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, a video popped up here. If you click on that, that's also a super valuable video. You're going to get a bunch of information from it, and it's going to help you make more money with KDP.